Hey, congratulations for your short film at last.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Hey, so tell me, this is not your first short film. What is this? Your seventh short film?
So I like to say it's our second that we've taken out to festivals and that has been picked up. So second in that regards, but out of all the projects that I've made, from being in film school and all of that, yeah, like seventh. But second baby that we've actually shown around the world.
Oh, excellent. Which film festivals has at last been shown to so far?
So we premiered at Holly Shorts in October
Yeah.
of 2020. So that was our like launching pad to, we went to Cleveland, we played indie shorts, Outfest here in Los Angeles. And now we're going to start heading towards the more international because of COVID. Obviously, everything was virtual for the most part. So we got to have the last leg of the American film festival in person. So that's been incredible to finally be able to watch it with an audience and with the cast and crew. So it's been really, really great.
Those are all excellent short film festivals and film festivals overall that you showcased it at.
Yeah, we were very, very fortunate. We've had the festival life of this film has been amazing, and we're so appreciative.
Well, let's start off with the easy question. Where did the original idea came from for this for
Yeah, so the original idea came from, so my first short film was another personal piece. It dealt with, the story about a woman who leaves an abusive marriage for the sake of her kids. So showing her resilience. And at that time, that subject matter was super taboo. And I just wanted to tell this story that was so dear to my heart. So for the next project, I knew I wanted to also write something personal. And I just kept thinking about how I felt in high school and how I had not, up to that point, seen a film where I saw my experience in high school and what that was like. So, I grew up in New York City and I didn't have the courage that our main character has to come out in high school. So I had the complete opposite experience of that. So I wanted to, I guess, selfishly make a film that I can relive, especially prom night. Like that was like the one thing that kept coming in the forefront was, oh man, Lorena, I wish you would have been braver or worn what you wanted to wear at prom and not cared what anyone else thought. And also, yeah, so just became, it came from a place of wanting to see myself and making a film I wish I had in high school.
So in reality, you don't have to answer the question, but in reality, was it just a normal prom that you had, or did you participate in prom?
Normal meaning, yes, that I was all dolled up with the dress and the makeup and the heels and all of that. Yeah, I did have just an ordinary, to me, not memorable prom for sure.
Well, everyone's prom is different.
Everyone remembers that too, right? Like whether it was good or bad, like you'll remember it, if you've had the opportunity to go.
Well, I mean, one of the things about your short film is it is a coming out story in its own way, but let me just throw it out there. We're like what 2021 now. Don't we have enough of these type of films? I mean, we've been putting out these coming out stories quite a bit.
We have, yeah, but I never saw it from a Latinx perspective, right? And from a Latinx character who has, supportive parents or a supportive father, like especially someone as recognizable as George, where we see like the very in our community, like that very macho mentality and old school mentality. So I wanted to spin that around and yeah, we've had all the coming out stories, but give something hopeful. And I think our editor Brett Thomas did such a wonderful job capturing that, right, and making the performances were brilliant, and we were able to just make a very hopeful film. And that's what we wanted to do with At Last, was just give people hope, right? We already have the negative coming out and coming of age tales, but why not make something a little bit more uplifting?
I was going to say this is a much more of a positive piece rather than a negative result of like some other stories out there.
Yeah, definitely. That was very intentional, from the script stage to when we were shooting, talking to the actors, to in post-production. So yeah, that was all super intentional.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I do have to commend, even though it is a short film, is that you got some pretty impressive talent in there, very recognizable talent. I mean, I've spoke to Marlene before. I spoke to Georgia quite a few times, and I spoke to Zach. And
Oh
they're
my God.
they're not lightweights in the industry. They're actually very, very known people in this industry. How did you pull this off?
Yes, I again just super lucky. Marlene I had worked with in my first short film. She was in that, and we kind of made this pact that we would always work together. I would find a role for her, and when I was thinking about the parents, I already knew I was writing the role for her to be the mom in the piece. And secretly, I was writing with George in mind, not knowing if we would ever get him, but, just having his voice in my head. And then I always intended Lauren's best friend to be a person with Down syndrome. So after I had seen Peanut Butter Falcon, I just fell in love with Zach, and he was such a brilliant actor. And I was just so lucky to be able to get the script to him, and he loved it, and he felt so passionate about the material as well. For the follow up for Peanut Butter Falcon, he was like, "This is like the role I want. I want to be that sidekick and go back to high school and that." And then George, it was just the universe and him saying yes to this project, and it definitely helps catapult us to finish the film and make the film, right? Having someone of his caliber believe in this story. And again, I think for him, it was also exciting to have like a role that a lot of people are not used to. Like we're used to seeing him as the father, but in a more serious drama piece, I think was exciting for him. And I know for all the people that have watched, that's like the one thing that they always point out is like, oh wow, it's so cool to see him, like he made me cry. Like I never thought I was crying of laughter before, but now I'm crying of, feeling all the feels seeing his performance.
Absolutely. I know for quite some time he's trying to shed that comedic image, but I'm curious, how did you pitch that to him to make him say yes?
Just looking at him in the eyes and saying, I have the script, and it's something that it's, no one has ever seen you in, and you are the man for this. Like I wrote this character for you, and you are the dad. So just please read it and let me know what you think. And him reading it and saying yes.
Wow, you must have been elated when he said yes. That is terrific.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's been so supportive, throughout this whole process, right? Because once you get people of that caliber, they've done their job, like peace out, I'm done. But he's definitely, been proud of the film and how far we've gone to now, being picked up by HBO Max and streaming there. So we definitely made him very proud. So that makes me proud as well.
That is great.
Yeah.
Now, I love talking about Zach because, I met him a couple of times. He is such a nice person. But I do know, speaking to people who work with him on Peanut Butter Falcon, there's a particular way of, working with Zach or directing with Zach. So I would like to know how you directed Zach on a project like this, because, everybody has to approach Zach a little bit different because he's not a typical actor out there.
Yeah. So he doesn't live here in Los Angeles, right? So he was here during like our pre-production stage, and that was like the peak of award season where he was like in LA almost every other weekend with Peanut Butter Falcon. So we were able to sneak a couple of rehearsals with him and the lead. I think two or three. And in that process, it was more of getting him comfortable with Katie. But as soon as they met, literally from the screen test, it was just pure magic. Like their relationship was there and they fell in love with each other. And it's like they'd known each other for years. So that came very organic. But in approaching, the directing and the dialogue, it was literally having conversations with him of like, how would you say this? Like this is what you're trying to get your best friend to do. How would you say this to your best friend? So it was just adjusting. But I think that's the fun part, right? As a director is having, actors, different kind of actors, right? Where you can, adjust and cater and tailor to everyone, right? So that was pretty much it. Once we were on set, I mean, he knew his lines, and, there are times where, I'm as close. What you don't see in the film is me being like behind in the car scene, in the back seat, like crunched. I'm very small, so I was able to fit, and just be in there with them and making him comfortable, making him know that I was there, to support him in any way that he needed.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's going to be a really good actor. I know Shia LaBeouf was showcasing him everywhere.
Yeah.
everybody loves that. Well, of course, I know we talked about Marlene, we talked about George, we talked about Zach. I keep on forgetting we have to mention Katie, obviously. Tell her why she was perfect for the main role for this film.
So Katie, this is her first starring role, which, people are like, wow. But yeah, it's her first starring role. And I had produced a project she was in, and we ran into each other at a festival. And it was, for me, part of directing is, your gut feelings, right? Especially when it comes to casting. You could be the most talented actor, but if there's not that spark when you guys meet, then it won't work for me. But with her, it was this gut feeling of like, oh my God, she might be Lauren. And let me just see if she's even interested. So I had talked to her about the project, and she was like, oh my God, that sounds incredible. And let me send you a tape. So she sent me a tape, and it was the scene at the prom that she sent me. And yeah, I just, with my producers, we're like, yeah, it's her. So I'm so glad that she was able to, just take this character and really live with her and bring out those moments, as well as Trisha Brooks, who plays Sam. Again, a dear friend and someone I've worked with before and wrote the role with her in mind. So having her and Marlene as actors that I've worked with before, it just made me go in, knowing that I was with family. So that was great too. And she's super talented. And I can't think of anyone else who could have played Sam.
That's amazing. I did not know that. Well, I know you could always find your actors at a film festival, but I never know that you could discover a first-time actor at a film festival. That's unheard of to me. I mean, people just don't wander to film festivals and get their first acting gig.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say. Which is I think that is terrific that you gave her a great chance to
absolutely. Yeah. And like that was the one role, right, that we knew was, all the roles were crucial, but that one in particular, like, someone had to really come on and take, full charge, right, of this character. So I'm just, and they've been incredible, collaborating and just really giving themselves to these characters, everyone. So I've been very, very thankful to them for that.
So for you personally, you always aspired to be a director? This is something that you dreamed of doing?
Oh, yes. Since I was 8 years old, actually. Titanic was the first live action film I saw. as a kid and you know, growing up in New York City and coming from a family of no artists, right? Or creatives, you know, I didn't know there was a whole team and crew behind the films that we were watching. But once I realized that, I felt like it was just something I needed to do, was to tell stories, and tell stories through writing, and tell stories through, you know, a camera, or collaborate with others to bring those stories to life. So it's always been a great passion of mine, and something that I don't know, it just, I feel at home. I know that sounds very cheesy, but yeah, I really do feel like it's the place where I feel alive, and I love to be creating with others. So I always knew that was my calling, and the road leading up to that was also fun. But yeah.
So far you have made two main short films, besides the other ones, but they're personal. Is this something that you gravitate for, towards personal stories because it's just more satisfying, or just because it's easier because it's closer to home?
I mean, you know, either personal or not, I don't think, you know, any film is easy to make. They're all super hard, this one included. And, you know, being vulnerable with what you're, you know, I feel like as a filmmaker, I feel like there's little pieces of ourselves, right, in the material that we're creating. So that's something you have to get over, right? Is that vulnerability and putting yourself out there. But I just want, like, I know the films I like to watch, and when I go to the theaters, I want to be moved, whatever that is, like whether I'm makes me think about something, or it moves me to tears, or I feel inspired. I just want to feel something, right? I don't want to be the same like when I came into the theater. Like I want to leave feeling something. So that's where that attraction to personal stories have come from just watching and wanting to do that. And also this whole experience has taught me, you know, at the time, you know, I just wanted to make something for myself, and not knowing that, you know, 6 months down the line, people would be seeing this and relate to it, right? And as a storyteller, I feel like when people, strangers, complete strangers, can resonate to the material that you're making, it makes everything, you know, so much worth it. And it really tells you that there's a need and a hunger for these kind of stories. So that's always inspiring, right? To keep going and keep telling those kind of stories.
Great. Well, you know, usually I don't like to bring up IMDb because sometimes it's, you know, it's half correct or half incorrect. But are you planning to do a full-length feature film for At Last?
Yes.
Is that what's on IMDb?
Yes. That is the plan. So we're super excited to have everyone on board again, to really expand, right? You're so constrained with the short of like how much you can tell, and that, you know, the time and all of that. So now to be able to fully dive into these characters, and you know, let us know like what happens right after you come out, and then what is that like. So we're super excited for that.
Aren't you a little bit scared? This will be your first feature film.
I think I'm ready. It's exciting more than scary. I think, yeah, being able to again work with the same team that we made the short with, and knowing that there is an audience, right, and people that are awaiting that feature. So yeah, we're super happy.
Most excellent. Well, let me wrap it up with one last question, because obviously people can watch At Last, the short film. Could you tell us where we could watch it? Because you said it's going to be showcased at 4 film festivals, but this time international film festivals,
Yeah, so we'll start doing our international run at the festivals. We're finishing up in October with our domestic festivals. But anyone who has HBO Max, you can go stream it now. We launched September 3rd on HBO Max, which again, dream come true. And now everyone has access to it. So you don't have to wait for a festival. You could just, click on it in your living room and watch it.
That is terrific. That is great to hear. Everyone should check it out on HBO Max at least, because this is a touching film, and then at least people could say, I watched a short film before the feature film. And
Exactly.
that'll
Yeah.
Well, Lorena, hey, thank you very much for speaking to us, and hopefully we get to do this again after the completion of your feature film, and I can't wait.
Definitely, and in person.
That's right, in person. That's right. All right, next time.
Thanks so much.